A warm evening breeze floated gently across the coast of Alicante when the first sign of trouble appeared. A single unanswered phone call that should have been routine, but instead felt strangely heavy, like the beginning of something quietly unraveling beneath the surface, because the Morales family had never missed their nightly check-in. Not once. Not in 12 years of tradition. And that small break in pattern would become the invisible thread that later pulled police, journalists, and the entire country into a case so haunting that investigators still recall the earliest hours with a sense of unease, as if they had stepped unknowingly into a story that was waiting for them. The Morales family, Elena, a 42-year-old accountant who loved structure, her husband Daniel, a soft-spoken high school teacher with a talent for remembering people's birthdays, and their 14-year-old daughter Lucia, an introverted young girl who collected seashells and photographed stray cats, had traveled to Alicante for a short vacation meant to repair what Elena once quietly called the thin cracks, forming in their household, cracks that friends had sensed but never openly asked about. The three of them rented a small seaside apartment, spent their mornings exploring markets, their afternoons by the water, and their evenings walking quietly along the harbor, trying to find laughter again in the simple things. And for the first 2 days, things appeared peaceful, almost healing, until the evening of July 19th, when that first missed call set off a chain of events no one could stop. Their relatives in Madrid waited, then called again and again, but the line kept ringing, and by morning the landlord unlocked the apartment to find the door slightly ajar, the living room untouched, 2 suitcases still open on the floor, Elena's sandals near the balcony, Lucia's camera bag zipped carefully, as if placed intentionally, and Daniel's wristwatch left on the kitchen counter. Something his brother immediately flagged as unusual, because Daniel never removed it except for showers. The police were notified, and within 3 hours the case moved from a routine welfare check to an active missing persons investigation, with officers examining every corner of the apartment and noting the strange absence of struggle, no broken glass, no overturned furniture, no signs of forced entry, just a stillness that felt unsettling, as though the family had stepped out for a moment and simply never returned. Witness statements began to build the timeline. A British tourist saw the family leaving a seaside cafe around 6:10 p.m., walking together but with visible tension. A fisherman recalled seeing only Elena and Lucia near the pier around sunset, and a neighbor reported hearing a man's voice raised inside the apartment sometime between 10:30 and 11 p.m., but could not identify who it was. Police reviewed CCTV from the harbor where a grainy clip captured the silhouettes of what looked like Elena and Lucia walking toward the shoreline, but Daniel did not appear alongside them, raising immediate questions about whether he had left earlier or separated from them voluntarily or under pressure. Forensic technicians swept the apartment and found a faint smear on the balcony railing that initially appeared like sunscreen residue, but later tested as trace blood, too small to assign to any of the three without deeper analysis. They also found a partially wiped fingerprint on the sliding door belonging to an unknown adult male, which became the investigation's first major lead. Meanwhile, officers examined Daniel's phone records and discovered that his device had been switched off at 9:47 p.m., while Elena's had remained active until 10:58 p.m., when it abruptly cut off near a cell tower close to a remote section of beach several kilometers away, an area with no tourist lighting and few cameras, a place locals described as beautiful by day, unsettling by night. When investigators visited the site at dawn, they found fresh footprints near a sand dune, 2 sets small enough to likely belong to Elena and Lucia, and 1 larger, deeper set, possibly belonging to a man, but uneven, almost dragging on one side. The larger prints stopped abruptly near the waterline, as if whoever made them had been pushed or jumped or taken by boat, leaving officers puzzled by the lack of debris or signs of a struggle. As pressure mounted, police expanded the search internationally, reviewing ferry logs, border crossings, and rental car activity, discovering that a black Mercedes SUV had exited the apartment's parking lot at 11:12 p.m., minutes after the neighbor reported hearing raised voices, and that the vehicle had been rented by a man using a forged French passport whose face partially matched a blurry CCTV reflection from the harbor, a man later linked to a string of high-end burglaries across Europe. With this new angle, investigators began examining whether the family had interrupted a burglary gone wrong. But that theory weakened when forensic teams discovered that nothing inside the apartment was stolen. Not jewelry, not electronics, not cash. Nothing, which made the unknown man's presence more complicated, more deliberate, as if he wasn't there for theft but for something or someone else. Over the next week, contradictions emerged. A witness claimed to have seen Daniel arguing with a man outside a grocery store the night before the disappearance. Another insisted Daniel looked calm and alone that same evening. A third swore she saw Elena crying near the pier. Yet timelines overlapped and clashed until detectives reconstructed the family's final 24 hours second by second. The breakthrough came when CCTV enhancement revealed that in the harbor clip, the person assumed to be Elena was carrying 2 jackets, neither of which belonged to her, but instead matched Daniel's clothing, suggesting she was either looking for him or carrying items he left behind in a hurry. Then forensic results on the balcony smear returned. The blood belonged to Lucia, but consistent with a small cut, possibly from a sharp shell or metal edge, offering no evidence of a violent struggle but confirming she had been on the balcony shortly before disappearing. The unknown male fingerprint, however, matched a man named Victor Hale, a dual-national fugitive connected to human trafficking routes across southern Europe, which abruptly shifted the investigation into a darker direction. But even as police intensified their search for Victor, the question grew heavier. Where was Daniel? Had he been taken? Had he gone willingly? Had he tried to protect his family? Or was he somehow connected to the manhunt now spreading through Spain, France, and Portugal? The answer began to take shape when a ferry worker reported that a man resembling Daniel boarded a late-night vessel to Tangier alone, looking shaken, with sand on his shoes and no luggage. And when shown photographs, the worker hesitated but said the resemblance was strong enough to matter. The police could not confirm it, but the possibility opened an entirely new chapter. Daniel might not be missing, he might be running. The emotional toll on relatives intensified, with Elena's sister describing sleepless nights and growing fear that the truth would be far worse than anything they had imagined, while Daniel's brother insisted that Daniel would never harm his family and must have been coerced or forced into something he could not explain. As the investigation closed in on 2 continents, officers recovered a critical piece of evidence: a discarded phone found near a freight warehouse used by smugglers, containing a single video clip filmed at night, shaky and brief, showing a figure who looked like Lucia inside a moving vehicle, unharmed but frightened, whispering something that audio experts struggled to decode except for 3 clear words: "Papa said hide." Authorities hoped this meant at least one family member was alive, but the clip ended abruptly with a hand covering the camera and a rough voice saying, "We move now." The discovery electrified the case and confirmed what detectives feared. This was no simple disappearance, but an organized extraction involving multiple players, possible ransom motives, or hidden family secrets that had never surfaced until now. The story moved from local news to international headlines, turning the Morales family into symbols of a case that grew colder and hotter at the same time, with leads crossing borders faster than investigators could follow. And then, 14 days after the family vanished, police in Morocco detained a man walking near the port district, sunburned, exhausted, limping, and carrying a backpack containing Elena's bracelet and Lucia's camera. It was Daniel, but before officers could bring him in for questioning, he fled again, slipping through an alley, vanishing into the night as if he had practiced the escape 1,000 times. His footprints ended at a broken fence leading toward an industrial zone where containers moved in and out without thorough inspections, suggesting he had help, resources, or a destination. And suddenly the entire narrative shifted. Was Daniel a victim running for survival, or the architect of everything that had happened? Investigators believed they were finally closing in when a container manifest flagged something unusual: a shipment bound for South America with falsified departure times. And inside one container, they found a scrap of fabric belonging to Elena's jacket and a single handwritten message in rushed, shaky Spanish: "We are close, but not safe." With that, the manhunt became global, the theories multiplied, and the truth seemed simultaneously within reach and slipping farther away. And as authorities prepared to open another container suspected to hold the next major clue, the alarms suddenly cut out, the dock lights flickered, and the power to the entire shipping area went dark, leaving investigators staring at a silent harbor where someone had just killed the electricity. Someone who seemed to know exactly what the police were about to find next and what they were desperately trying to hide. The instant the port lights went out, the entire harbor seemed to inhale. Sharply, officers stood motionless for a split second, their instincts telling them this blackout wasn't mechanical failure, it was orchestration. Darkness flooded the docks as though someone had draped a curtain over the investigation itself. Flashlights flickered on, beams slicing through the void, revealing the container that had, moments earlier, been their strongest lead. Now its seal was broken, its doors slightly open, and a single fresh boot print marked the dust, deep, deliberate, matching the same drag pattern prints found near the sand dunes where the Morales family vanished. Inside the container was no suspect, no victim, no breakthrough. Only sand, a torn piece of Lucia's beach dress, and a warm digital recorder left as if someone wanted it found. At headquarters, detectives listened in stillness. The recording began with uneven breaths, hurried footsteps, then Daniel's voice, strained, shaky but alive. "They found us. Don't trust the man in the red cap. If you hear this, we're not gone, we're moved." Lucia's whisper followed. "Papa says we run again." Then a muffled sound, Elena's soft, wavering voice. "Just hold on a little longer." A crash, a sharp cry, then silence. The room of investigators felt a collective shift. The family was alive far later than anyone had assumed. And more importantly, they were running together, running from someone, not from each other. The theory of Daniel's involvement broke apart instantly. Detectives dug deeper, tracing encrypted emails sent to Daniel months before the vacation, cryptic warnings about unfinished obligations, debts, and consequences he had tried to ignore. A student of his had vanished abruptly, and the boy's father was tied to trafficking networks linked to Victor Hale, the same man whose fingerprint was found inside the Morales apartment. Interviews revealed nothing but fear. One trembling sentence repeated to investigators: if he ran, he had a reason. Search teams fanned across Spain. The black Mercedes was discovered at a deserted farmhouse outside Valencia, the interior littered with bandages, empty water bottles, a child's hair clip, and tire tracks leading into the woods. Drone footage detected heat signatures near an irrigation ditch. Officers found 2 backpacks belonging to the family, a partially burned notebook coated with maps of safe houses, and 3 unused airline tickets to Argentina. The date set 1 week after the disappearance. Among the hastily scribbled notes, one line chilled investigators: "If they catch us, they take the girl first." It became clear that Lucia, not Daniel, not Elena, had been the primary target. CCTV next surfaced from a gas station in southern Spain. In a van parked by the pumps, the Morales family appeared exhausted, huddled closely. Daniel repeatedly checked the mirrors. Elena held Lucia's trembling hands, and outside, a man in a red cap watched without blinking. The van sped off. He followed. The trail carried police into mountainous terrain used by smugglers. When officers reached an abandoned mining area, they found signs of a struggle, blood droplets matching Elena's type, a broken chain, shoe prints of multiple men, and drag marks leading toward a winding road. A shepherd saw a convoy of 3 vehicles heading toward the French border that night. French authorities intercepted one, empty except for blankets, water, and a torn photograph of Lucia smiling on a beach. 2 vehicles disappeared into the mountain pass. Days later, a waterproof bag washed ashore in Marseille. Inside was a USB drive and a hand-drawn map with an offshore island circled twice in red. On the drive was a video of Daniel, filmed in a dim room, his face bruised but his eyes resolute. "If you're seeing this," he said, voice breaking, "they've taken us across another border. They want something from me, something I didn't know I had. Protect my daughter. She is the key to everything. She doesn't know it." Shouts erupted in the background. The door burst open. The video cut. The island circled on the map, an old stone fortress 15 kilometers offshore, was known historically for smuggling routes, officially abandoned but recently showing suspicious heat signatures on satellite images. A multinational rescue team mobilized overnight. At dawn, Boats and helicopters approached the island under tight silence. Officers breached the crumbling fortress tunnels, discovering fresh boot prints, ropes, water bottles, and a recently extinguished fire. Voices echoed in the distance. Within minutes, the first captive was found, Elena, weak, dehydrated, but alive, bound to a pillar in a lower chamber. She was barely conscious, whispering only one thing: "Take me to my daughter." She guided police deeper into the tunnels, describing how the group fractured during an escape attempt. "They separated us," she murmured, holding onto an officer's arm. "Daniel," he told them to take him instead. "But Lucia, she's with a woman, not the men," a woman who kept saying she needed the girl's memory. Investigators pieced it together rapidly. Lucia had witnessed something 6 months before the vacation, something that connected Victor Hale, the student's father, and a cross-border trafficking ring. She was the only witness to a clandestine exchange near her father's school, and though she didn't understand what she saw, the criminals believed she did. She became the threat, Daniel became the shield, and the family vacation became the cover the criminals exploited to hunt them down. Officers continued clearing the fortress until they reached a steel door welded shut from the outside. Behind it, whimpers. The door was cut open. Lucia was inside, bruised but unharmed, clutching a small notebook filled with drawings, maps she remembered, faces she had seen, moments she didn't realize were evidence. The woman guarding her had fled minutes before the breach. As helicopters prepared for extraction, a final team scoured the northern tunnel and found Daniel. He was slumped against a wall, alive but barely able to stand, wrists bruised from restraints. When he saw Lucia being carried out, he cried without sound, the weight of 2 weeks collapsing into a single moment. Within hours, the Morales family was flown to a secure medical facility in mainland France, where investigators took their statements separately. Through trembling words and steady tears, the truth became clear. A trafficking network had feared the testimony of a 14-year-old girl who unknowingly walked past their deal months earlier. The man in the red cap, Victor Hale's associates, the forged passport, the safe houses, the coded notebooks, it all revolved around silencing a child who saw too much. With their statements and Lucia's drawings, authorities conducted major coordinated raids across Spain, France, Morocco, and Brazil. Victor Hale was arrested in Lisbon attempting to board a cargo ship, and the network unraveled swiftly, dozens of members captured within days. In court, Daniel testified with a quiet determination that moved even the sternest officers. Elena spoke of fear, survival, and the fragile threads that hold families together. Lucia's testimony remained sealed and private, her identity protected. When the verdicts were announced, life sentences for Hale and the leaders, the courtroom felt colder, heavier, as if no punishment could ever undo the 17 days of terror the Morales family endured. After the trial, the family relocated under protection, choosing a quiet rural home far from the sea. Reports say Daniel still wakes from nightmares, Elena avoids dark rooms, and Lucia, despite therapy, still sketches maps she doesn't fully remember. Investigators who handled the case often reflect on it as a lesson in human behavior. How quickly a peaceful vacation can become a battleground, how fragile normal life truly is, how the smallest observation can shift the fate of an entire criminal empire. And in the end, the most haunting truth is not the crime itself, but the reminder that danger often hides in ordinary moments, watching, waiting, shaping lives without warning. The Morales family survived, but they would never be the same.